I want to tell you about Dave. Dave is a software architect. Last year, Dave took $100,000 and moved it around, picked his favorite stocks, and watched the market every morning before work. And at the end of the year, he had $112,000. And that is a 12% return. That's awesome. Unfortunately, here's the part that I was like, oh crap. Oh. If Dave had done absolutely nothing, if he would have just bought like a boring index fund, he'd have $125,000. Now, sure, he didn't lose money here, but he did something worse. He paid for the privilege of feeling smart, and the bill came out to $13,000 in a single year. We're just talking about 1 year here. Dave is not an unusual guy. But you might ask, well, why listen to this guy on YouTube that's talking right now? Because I somehow stumbled upon this video. Because look, I'm an average guy who went from $100,000 in debt, struggling every month, to becoming a millionaire. And now I help everyday average people do the same exact thing. There's a research firm, and it's called DALBAR. Every year since 1985, they've measured one thing. And that one thing is what the actual investor actually earns versus what the market handed to them for free if they would have just invested in the S&P 500. They call it the behavior gap. I like to call it the smart money tax, because it's the price you pay for trying to be smarter than a boring old index fund. And almost everybody pays it, let's be real. We all go through this, one time or another. In 2024, the S&P 500 returned over 25%, but the average equity investor, 16.5%. And that's an 8.5 point gap, the second largest in a decade. With this, we are looking at the same market within the very same year of 2024, but the only variable was the behavior of how that money was invested. Now, 1 year is a cute story. 20 years, to me, I consider that a verdict. Watch what the tax does when it compounds over time. $100,000 left untouched in the S&P 500 over the last 20 years became $717,000. The average investor, the one moving money around, trying to be smart, trying to pick those individual stocks that are going to the moon, ended with $345,000. Now, yeah, they grew their money, but they made less than half of the boring old index fund. The person who tried to win ended up with less than half of the person who, refused to play. The gap isn't bad luck. The gap is that smart money tax paid in full. And here's how this tax actually gets collected. In 2024, investors pulled money out of the market in every single quarter. That's every 3 months. And the biggest withdrawals came right before the biggest rally upward. What happens is people get scared, right? Like, I've been there, right? I can relate to this. I'm not here to say that I'm any better. I mean, I've got myself caught in a few individual stocks before, thinking they would go up. I paid the tax many times. But people get scared, right? You sell out, the market will surge on you without you, and then you buy back in higher, and then you know how that works. It likes to go back down, right? But what if I would tell you that I'm personally up over 61% on one of my investments? And if you look here at something called the lot details, which tells me the performance every single time that I invest, whether that's weekly, monthly, every time I put money into my index fund, you're going to see some with triple digit growth. And I show you this not to brag, but to show you that, there's truth behind what I'm sharing here. It's not just me making things up. But even more recent purchases are still up 20%, with the most recent being the only red number. Take a look at it. Somebody actually called me out in the comments, and what they said is, no one has green numbers like this. And I immediately thought, well, these are my real numbers. I'm not faking this, but I suppose if I chased individual stocks as a primary holding, I would probably be much more in the red than I am. See, the point is, I just buy and I hold and I buy and I hold, and the market will go down and I buy more and then it goes up. And then I just sit there and it's boring. But maybe you're thinking, fine, that is just an amateur comment. What about the professional people, like the professional investment guys, right? They got to be doing very good. Well, here's the single most shocking statistic I've ever read. The S&P runs a scorecard called SPIVA, whatever, SPIVA. And what that does is that grades professional fund managers against a simple index. Over the last 20 years, roughly 9 out of 10 of them lost. And here's a kicker. Stretch it to 15 years, and out of 22 categories of the US stock funds, The number where most managers beat the index was 0.000. That's bad. People whose entire job, whose whole career, whose actual paycheck depends on beating the market, well, as a group, they can't. So the real question isn't whether you can beat the market on your phone at lunch using Robinhood or something like that. It's why you'd bet your retirement, your freedom, your whatever you're building your investments for, to be better than the people who can't. If the math is this obvious, why does everyone, amateurs and pros and us, when we get into these little mindsets of maybe this will make me rich, why do we keep paying this tax? It's because of this. 2 researchers at Berkeley, Barber, and Odean went and got the actual trading records of 66,000 households. The paper has the best title in all of finance, and it's called, get ready, Trading is Hazardous to Your Wealth. This is like an article I suspect a doctor to come out with. Hazardous to your health? This is now hazardous to your wealth. See, the households that traded the most earned 11% per year. The market over that same stretch did almost 18%. And I didn't pick bad companies. Remember, I'm not talking about losers here. I'm talking about people that made money, but they just touched the stove too often. And the more they traded, the worse they did. But here's the finding that I think about personally every time I get that itch to want to try to do some individual stocks to beat the market, beat my index funds. And trust me, I try to touch the stove more than I should. But when these investors sold one stock to buy another, the stock they sold went on to beat the stock that they bought. And that's just disappointing, right? On average, every time they made a move, that move was incorrect. They were systematically firing their winners and hiring the losers. And sometimes I hate data. But at the same time, I love data because it protects the average dumb butt like me from myself. I mean, do you feel me on that? The engine underneath all of this has a name. It's called overconfidence. The more sure you are that you see something that the market does not, the more you trade. And the more you trade, the more smart money tax you're paying. The feeling of insight and the act of losing money are the same feeling. That is the trap. It feels exactly like being smart. You know when this hits the hardest? It's when a hot IPO drops. When the stock's already up 19%, and your group chat is on fire. Everybody's talking about it. And doing nothing starts to feel a little bit physically painful. And you start thinking, man, all of my friends are talking about this and they're buying in. They're going to all retire and I'm going to be stuck. Oh, man, I should probably buy in, right? And that exact moment when action feels mandatory is statistically the most expensive moment to act. I'm going to call it out. Take SpaceX as a relevant and recent example here. And I'm not saying it's a bad company. It's just matching the data from all of these researchers. Don't hate me, hate the data, guys. With all of that said, 95% of my portfolio is boring on purpose. Index funds, a couple of ETFs that are automated and untouched. The 95% is what let me walk out of a 26-year career comfortably. That's the part that did the work. While everybody was off doing other things, I was doing the boring old automated investing. I got paid, time to buy some VTI. I got paid, time to buy some QQQM. I mean, boring. Nothing exciting there, right? Until it became exciting. Now, the other 5% is my play money because as an average guy, I still get dumb urges to try individual stocks. So what I do is I do a very methodical, very calm way to figure this out. And I've talked about it on a previous video that I'll link in the description below. And I keep it for a reason that has nothing to do with returns. I keep it because I'm human, the itch is real, and I'd rather scratch it with 5% than blow up 95% of my portfolio trying to pretend that I'm smarter than I am. The 5% isn't there to beat the market. It's there to protect the rest of the portfolio from me. What it is, it's the part of you that will see an opportunity right when everyone else is already excited, the part that sells before the rally, the part that needs to do something because sitting around and just automating your investment feels like you're losing. The smart money tax is optional. That's the whole secret. The boring investor who bought the index and went outside beat 9 out of 10 professionals over 20 years. And if this reframed how you think about that itch, then your financial adventure will continue by checking out this video up here next. You got to keep building your sharp money, and I'll see you on the next video.